Howdy, hey. How you doing, baby? You good? You straight? You sure? All right now. So tonight, I man. So I just got finished watching Kirk Franklin's documentary called Father's Day, and I would like to say that, irregardless of what you practice, whether it be you're into Christianity, or if you're more of a spiritual person, or you just whatever religion, whatever, don't matter, right? Irregardless of that, I feel like it is very inspirational, because when you take out any type of religion or spiritual, any of that, when you take all of that out, it's just literally a person sharing their journey, and just sharing something that happened to them. And it's such a beautiful story. And I'm going to try not to get emotional during this, because it really is not about that story, his story per se. It's more so about just me. Don't do it now. Don't do it. Don't do it now. I just got started. I ain't going to be able to talk. It's really just about me and this part of my journey of finding myself and figuring out who the hell I am. So once I really deep dived into my journey, I had a situation that just really just shook up my life, and it made me just question everything. I went into this state of just deep rest and meditation, and I didn't even know that it was happening. And so many things were coming at me and hitting me all at once, and it was just so eye-opening. It was one of those things where once you know, and if you decide to go back to living how you were living before, you can. But not so many good things may come out of that. But just now, watching his story and knowing how, after I had the feeling that I had when I was on my journey, just finding myself, and how I went from being this, not a super religious person, but knowing about religion, going to church, and, just growing up with Christian family members, and, all of that stuff. I pretty much lean more towards spirituality. Once my eyes started to open, I'll say that again. Once my eye began to open and I started to realize things, I started to lean more towards spirituality than religion anymore, because I saw how a group of people were just so jealous of how another group of people were living their lives, and how they were able to just self-sustain, and they were so jealous that they had to make up this story. They just made up these just lies. And I'm not saying that every single thing in the Bible is a lie, because it's not. It's literally just stories that they took from these people, and then they flipped it and reversed it and made their own fucking story, and told people that you need to believe it. And if you don't believe it, we're going to kill you. First, we'll torture your family and take out members of your family in order to get you to believe it, until you're the last one left and you ain't got nothing left. And you need to know that I'm your God. I'm your God. But then at the same time, preaching to people and telling people that, I treat you like shit, but the person you're supposed to look up to and revere looks just like me, and they forgive, and they have all this empathy and sympathy for you, and they die for your sins and all of this stuff. But that's who you should look up to. And it's just knowing that history, all of that being revealed to me, it made me look at religion in this just shitty light. And then I started to almost like poke fun at Christians. I ain't gonna say almost, I did. I fucking did. Accountability in this bitch. Uh, I did. And at this point where I am in my life, I'm not ashamed of what I did. I'm just more, I'm just like, it's just the awareness, the level of awareness that I have now. I was just growing. And when you find out shit, like when you find out truths, hard truths, it pisses you off and it makes you really angry. And it makes you want to denounce all that shit because it's like, this is some bullshit. Why would you do that to people? Why would you had to be in control that fucking bad? And then to try to flip it and reverse it again when everybody is now equal. And, you know, and then to flip it again and say, okay, well now, man is powerful, or just a man, just put your trust in man, even though that was the story from the very beginning. But it's like, now to empower the men, because now, okay, we all equal, regardless of what our skin color is. Now let's just look at it as man is above, you know, he is the head and all of this shit like that. And it's just been flipped and reversed constantly to just fit the narrative of evolution. And it's just so messed up, man. But I say all of that to say this. I'm at a place now where I understand the meaning of when they try to say, oh, my God is a jealous God. My God don't like to be called by any other name. My God is a very jealous God. Why though? Why would God be jealous? That's not a good trait to be. So if God is a all-knowing or you know, the sympathy, the empathy, the forgiving and all this, why would you be jealous? It should roll right off your back when somebody calls you out of your name because you know who you are. So it shouldn't matter what anybody else says. And it made me really deep dive even more into the fact that they took the Most High. I know you're not on my counter. Get your ass off my counter. Get your ass off my counter. Sorry about that, my goddamn cat. But it further corroborates everything that I have been shown. And it's not up for debate. It's not up for debate with me because I've been shown this by something that I can explain it to you all day long, but if you don't want to believe it, you're just not going to believe it. And it's okay. I'm not judging you because technically we're not supposed to judge, right? But just knowing all that I've been shown, it further corroborates the fact that the Most High had to be this being that I don't even believe that I believe that it's woman. It's a woman, right? But at the same time, I kind of feel like it's androgynous because if it was able to create everybody in its image, and when it decided to create people in its image, and the people it created was a man and a woman, then the Most High has to just be this essence of a being. It's not a thing. It's not a person. And I feel like when they say that thing about, you know, my God is a jealous God, I feel like that's just ego. That's just man. Because they don't want you to believe something else or say something else, or talk about something else. No, it just has to be God, Jesus, all of this. And when I think about it, I'm like, the Most High ain't like that. I feel like how when I see Kirk Franklin, right? and he's just been into God and Jesus all his life, and he has this success, right, that he has. And for me personally, I used to think that, like, well, the reason people aren't getting what they want when they pray to this God is because they're not calling the God by the proper name, right? And if you would actually call the God by the proper name, or actually not even call him by the proper name, but know who you're talking to, really understand who you're speaking to, I feel like, you would have a better understanding or a deeper understanding of why life works the way that it works. Like how some people get upset at God and angry at God when they're like, my loved one was taken away from me. My loved one was killed. And they're like, and I prayed to God, or my loved one was missing, or something, when something bad happens that's literally out of your control. You can't control it. You just have to go with the fucking flow. And then people are praying and all of this different stuff. And then it turns out for the worse. And then they get angry at God. And you hear it all the time. I was just so angry at God. I was just so angry at Jesus, because I was like, I kept praying. And my family always told me if I pray, then everything would be all right. But I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and it was just not right. It didn't work for me. So you saying God just ain't listening to me. I don't matter. And there's some people who come out of that and be like, I was mad, but I had to understand it like this. And then those other people who are like, they just kept that anger, and they're like, forget religion, forget God, forget Jesus. They've turned away completely. I just feel if people really stood on who they were talking to, and not really just base it off the fact that somebody told you to do this, but feel it within you, really feel it within you, then their understanding would be a lot different. And when it comes to, like I was saying, when it comes to his success, Kirk Franklin's success, before me, prior, would have just been like, really just not understanding how you're able to do this, how you're able to have all these things, but you're calling the Most High by the wrong name. You're not really praising the Most High. You're praising someone else's ritual. You're giving into someone else's ritual. And now I'm at a place where me today, I'm like, you know what? The Most High is all forgiving. And I feel like if people really feel it in their heart, irregardless of what the fuck they call the Most High, the Most High is always going to deliver. Always going to deliver. It may not be in the manner that you want it to be delivered. It may not be as pleasant as you would like it, but you got to understand that there are a range of emotions, and you have to feel them all sometimes. I ain't going to say sometimes, all the time. You have to know them all and feel them all. There are some that you want to gravitate towards, way more than others because of the way that they make you feel, but you got to feel them all. And this is why when it comes to people dying and irregardless of how they die, whether it be, they were sick and they died early, or they were just taken out, they were killed and they, or whatever. I feel like everybody goes when they're supposed to go. And how I look at that situation as far as death now, I've made my peace with death. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when you make these connections in this 3D realm. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. Because it still hurts. You've made these connections with these people because that's what you're supposed to do here. You're supposed to experience all of this shit. And you're supposed to experience all of these emotions. But everybody has their purpose. And some people's purpose, whether you know what their purpose is or not, maybe their purpose stopped at them with them being a certain age. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be old age, it could be young age. People always say gone too soon. We say that, but how I feel, how I look at it, I feel like it's not a gone too soon. You're gone when you're supposed to be gone. You know, you're gone when you're supposed to be gone. With the way that you live your life, you're gone the way you're supposed to be gone. As far as you, just living your life, excuse me, and not trying to purposefully put yourself in situations, because there are some situations where I feel as if people just, they put themselves in situations. And when you put that energy out there into the atmosphere, it meets you where you are and it matches. Okay, you don't want to be here. We have a set time frame for you. But if you don't want to be here and you keep putting yourself in these type of situations, then you're just not going to be here. You're not going to be here in the form that you are now. You're just not. Yeah, are you in there? You're going to have to come back. You're going to have to start over and do this shit again because you're not getting it. You're just not getting it. I definitely believe in reincarnation. Wholeheartedly. I've seen too much. I've been exposed to too much to not believe in reincarnation. So I understand people putting themselves in harm's way and getting what comes to them. But I also understand people's purpose just being a short time, possibly. It might not be a long time. And it hurts when they leave. Yes, it's a hurting feeling. I know for a fact something happened to one of my kids while, while I'm still here, and then and I'm gonna be hurt. When the time comes for my parents to leave, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna be hurt. I know that. I'm gonna go through all those ranges of emotions. So I know that. I'm not taking that away from the situation. It's just, even with knowing that, I just understand. I understand things from a level of, when it's your time, it really is your time. And there's nothing that you can do about that. There's nothing that your parents can do, your friends can do. It's just, when it's your time, it's your time. And you may not have known that you were walking in your purpose all this time. Excuse me, I'm going to close that. You may not have noticed or known that you were walking in your purpose all this time, but you probably were. You probably were. I don't know, or I'm not going to say I don't know. I don't feel like everybody before they leave here is going to fully understand their purpose, but it doesn't mean that they're not already walking in it. It doesn't mean that they didn't have some kind of impact on others' lives. And the impact that they have on other people's lives made that person do something in remembrance of this person or for this person or whatever. And that was a part of their purpose, even without them being here. I feel like some people's purpose, they're not going to be here to see it all unfold in this 3D realm with these two eyes. But where they go when they leave, they'll see it. How do I know that to be true? How do I feel that to be true? Because people who have connected with deceased family members on the other side, it's always said as they're at peace. They're at peace with everything. They're not angry that they died, you know? They might be angry at the fact that they left you so soon. But as far as them leaving here, they're at peace. because they're where they're supposed to be. This is just an experience. This isn't where we originate. We're just here to experience this. As many experiences as you can, that you're allowed, or that you open yourself to have. So now, with the understanding that I have, I feel as if with the Most High, how some people seem to still be so, you know, successful in life and still be so good at everything that, that they do in their life, and everything seems to kind of work out for them in the limelight, in a sense, or it's something that's really flashy, not the behind closed door shit, but the shit that's presented to the world. And these people call on whoever they call on. I feel like the Most High knows their heart. Their heart is in a place where it's like, you know, it's kind of one of those situations where I believe in the beginning with slaves, when they would, they're trying to be, they're being forced to say that they believe in this God and this is God. But when they get together, they say all that in front of the owner, the slave owner. But when they get together with themselves, they know who God is. They know who their God is. They understand that. But to just buy them some time and to keep that slave owner off their back, oh yeah, Jesus, 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 God, 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 whatever, you know, or whoever you believe in. But I'm just referencing slavery time frame. They had their own that they talked to. But I feel as if, it was just, and I don't want to go into that whole, I was about to go into that slavery is a choice situation, because I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I agree with that shit. And I already talked about it. I discussed that in another video that I brought up, where I definitely wholeheartedly believe that slavery was a choice, because you had a choice of whether or not you wanted to live this life, or you wanted to die with your values, your morals and your values. And you wanted to die with your dignity. And if you had to die believing in whatever the fuck you believed in, if that had to be the outcome, fuck it. That's just the outcome. So I definitely feel like it was a choice. I know people got tight when he said that shit. And people still be tight sometimes when you say that shit. And be like, yeah, but slavery, what the fuck you mean? Was it good? How was it a choice when they took people from? You had a choice. Now, with your choice that you made, the outcome of one of those choices wasn't so pleasant. But that's how much that person was like, no, you're not gonna shake me. You're not finna fucking turn me. You're not. I know about rituals and spells and all of this shit. And I know what you trying to do. And you doing some evil shit. And I see what you trying to do. And you ain't finna get me to say that shit. I'm not finna turn my back on mine. Nope. And to further, because I don't want to go too deep into it, but to further, you know, give my take on the whole slavery was a choice thing. Look at it like this. Uh what's his name? I can't think of his, like, Nate. Was it Nate? The one who did the one who basically was I can't think of his name right now. I can see the movie, I can see the guy that played him and everything. But it was the one where the guy was like in charge of preaching to the slaves, because he looked like them. The slaves knew, and he could read and all that good stuff. The slaves knew that, oh no, I don't think he could read. I don't think he could. The slave owners knew that he would be the one to help convert the slaves and get them to believe in this, because of the way that he spoke and because of how people would just gravitate towards him. So they used him. to read their word to his people, to try to brainwash his people. And he realized, no, I don't know if it was, I can't even remember all the way if it was the fact that he learned fully how to read or his understanding. And he was like, this ain't right. And he rebelled, and he was like, I'm not doing this no more. It was a choice. Either continue to comply or change. Continue to comply or try to change it. And he chose to try to change, and he died. He definitely lost his life, but trust and believe, he took out a whole hell of a lot before he lost his, because he wanted them to feel it, because he just was like, I'm pissed off at the fact that y'all got me saying this shit. Do you see what this shit is? Do you really understand what this shit is that you got me telling to my people? To believe in somebody that looks like you, that's going to help them and save them and free them, when really the only thing that's going to free my people is them. They're the only ones that can free themselves from these chains. Yeah, you might put us in physical fucking chains, but when you take them shits off of us, how do you keep us in line? By putting us in these metaphysical chains, these shackles of the mind. The fuck kind of shit is that? And he was pissed, and he went off, and he got other people to go with him. And yes, a lot of people lost their lives, but that was what they were willing to do for their freedom, to not live a lie anymore, because it was clearly a lie. Then you got Harriet Tubman. Hell no, I'm not doing this no more. And not only do I want to be free, but I know that this shit is not right, and I'm making a choice to go back and get other people who want to get out as well, who said, fuck this shit. Now, of course, after people came out of slavery, then, as generations have been born and people have just been passing this shit down, passing it down, because they were just afraid. And that was all that they had to really just pass down. Shit became so watered down, they forgot who they were. So, of course, as generations keep going until we have evolved into who we are now today, yes, we're going to still go with Jesus and God and all of these different religions, all these different names and all this different stuff, until people start to wake up, until that eyes start to open up in our people. We're out of the age of Pisces, the age of the fish, the age of just blindly following somebody. Now we're in the age of Aquarius, where you're thinking for yourself. You're hearing some shit, and then you're going and you're thinking for yourself. And them legalizing this fucking marijuana, I know I'm going off into a tangent for what I started talking about, but them legalizing this marijuana, knowing that marijuana definitely, marijuana is a gateway drug. It sure the fuck is a gateway to open your fucking mind. Sure the fuck is. Now, if you want something outside of weed, past weed, all that other shit that they be making, that's because you're trying to escape some shit. Life is too fucking real for you, and you don't want to deal with it. But hell yeah, weed is a gateway drug. It's a gateway to open your mind. And now all of a sudden, if we can't beat them, let's join them. Let's have all these dispensaries and all this shit. I will never get that chemical ass weed. I will not get no fucking grow in a building ass weed no more. I will never be altered. Because now that you know that we're coming into our own and understanding who the fuck we are, now you really want to fuck with our mind, because our minds are evolving. You trying to fuck with our mind with the weed. You trying to fuck with our mind with technology, making us fucking slow, making us want shit like this when that ain't how fucking life works. It's about flowing. It's not a fast pace. So, coming back to where I was at, I want whoever hears this to know that whatever you decide to practice it. To appease whoever you want to appease, but know who you are. Get in touch with self. Know that everything that they told you that's supposedly wicked, it ain't wicked, it's you. They don't want you to know how powerful you really fucking are. And it's a shame, because if you understand how powerful you are, and then a lot more of you realize how powerful you are, and you come together, when all them fingers, what Big Mama say, when all them fingers come into a fist, ball up into a fist, they strike a mighty fucking blow. They strike a mighty fucking blow. And it's a blow that them motherfuckers ain't, they don't even want to deal with that shit. That's why they keep fucking with us. So, in conclusion, in conclusion, I hope that no one takes this as I'm trying to bash any religion, because I'm not. I've been there. I've done that. I'm not. I understand now that it's just evolution. It's the way that shit has gone. And whatever you feel like you need to believe in, you know, because you do need something to believe in for this shit to really make sense. You do. But again, just learn self. Really learn self. Just this past, I want to say, week and a half, almost 2 weeks now, even though I have been heavily influenced by spirituality since about 2014, even though I have, spirit has been coming to me and trying to get me to remember where I come from. I've been seeing all kinds of things dealing with church popping up for me. And I ain't going to say the most powerful, but one of the most powerful ones was this situation with Kirk Franklin and his story. It really is. And it's like, don't forget where you came from. Again, with that Bible, everything in that Bible ain't wrong. Everything in that Bible ain't lies. There's some truth in there. Because people write books. People write books. And they get truth from somewhere. They just like to flip it and reverse it to make it more interesting, so you'll buy the fucking book. Duh. But there's truth in that book. You just have to read it and decipher the truth and know the truth. I saw somebody that I went to school with on Facebook. She was, sharing her testimony, and she's changed her life around a lot. But she's sharing her testimony now, and I don't want to say she's a preacher, but she powerful. She could be. She is. I will say that she is. She's definitely a messenger. I won't say preacher. I'll say messenger. But she shared her testimony, and she was in church. And at first, when I seen it, I was like, I ain't finna listen to this. I ain't into that. I ain't into church. But whatever it was something within me that made me listen to that. Listen to her tell her story. And I listened, and I was like, that was so beautiful. That was so beautiful. And then either the very next day or a day or so after that, I broke down, because I realized what she was talking about, I was receiving it in another way. I was receiving it in another way. And she was really just talking about her cup being filled. How she went from, just being down and depressed and hopeless to her cup being filled. And I had that same situation happen to me right after that. And it was just so powerful. And I was just so thankful that I was able to put my pride aside and hear that message, because it was a divine message, and it was meant for me to hear it, to understand more of my journey, to understand more with my children, so that I can be more present with my children and be more loving with my children. And then after that, it got me thinking about my grandmother, my father's mother, and how she was just so into church. And it started me to thinking about her. And then after that, I kept hearing people talking about Kirk Franklin and his story and how powerful it was. And, people weren't really talking about it, like giving the details of it, but just, giving the gist of what it was about and how it was just powerful. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Go watch it. And again, that first thought in my head, that human, don't do that shit. You ain't into church like that. Kirk Franklin is, you know, God's property. You know what I'm saying? Don't. But I was like, nah, I fox with Kirk Franklin. All the people say Stone. Everybody say Stone. Like I fox with Kirk Franklin. And I was like, you know what? No. And it popped up for me today. I was going on the YouTubes and it popped up for me. I didn't go looking for it. I did not go looking for it. It came to me. And after I watched it, I just had to share this message. I just really had to share this message. Man, that was so powerful. And that's just gonna, it's even, I can just feel my heart just filling up and just, I can, I can just feel, put it like this. The story that the person from my high school said about their cup being filled, I feel like that story filled my cup. Then the situation I went through where I broke down filled my cup some more. And then my grandmother came and filled my cup some more. And then Kirk Franklin came in my life again. And I got to hear his story. And now I'm just overflowing. I'm overflowing. And I just want everybody to feel like this. And I know that it's a fucking stretch. Everybody ain't gonna feel like this. Everybody ain't gonna get to this level. I get it. But man, I just want people to fill their cup or at least make space for their cups to be filled by other people because they're trying to fill it themselves and it's hard and it's not working and they're forgetting cup just dry. They're forgetting because they're constantly giving, not understanding that it really does take a village. And your village is not always the people directly in your family, your mama, your daddy. It's just all those people. It could be anybody from any walk of life that could be a part of your village. So yes, I just wanted to share that message and just put out there that, again, I hope that if anybody watches this or whoever watches this, know that in my heart of hearts, I'm not judging anybody for whatever they believe in. I'm not doing it anymore because judging, I feel like, is an emotion. What's the point of me judging you? What is that going to do for me? You know, you want to do whatever you want to do, do it. If it makes you feel good, do it. And I'm not bashing anybody for doing or believing in whatever they do or believe in. Just stick to that shit and go hard. Stick to that shit and go hard. But at the same time, again, just know yourself. Excuse me. Just really know yourself. Really, really know yourself. Get in touch with self. It's the most difficult thing to do here is to get in touch with self. So difficult. So hard to sit down and look at yourself in that mirror. But oh man, when you do, when you finally accept it all and just be like, hey, I'm here. I can't change it. All I can do is accept it. I can accept it, and now I can move forward with the understanding that I have now. I can move forward in a more positive way, in a way that really fucking serves me. It really serves me now. So yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for showing up for yourself. I love you. Take care of yourself. I know I did a lot of cussing in this and I was talking about religion, but that's how I talk. And you understood. And I know somebody eventually gonna be, you ain't gotta do all that. I know, I know, I know. But the point of the matter, the point of it all is, did you get the message? Did my cussing overshadow the message? No. Don't matter how I talk. Just get the message. Drink your water, fill your cup, allow others to help and fill your cup as well, and mind your goddamn business. Mind your goddamn business. I fucking love you, bro.